Hello and welcome to episode 2 of 360craft with me, 360pick. This is the second in a series of Let's Play style tutorials in which we are learning to play Minecraft, and in the first tutorial we looked at the absolute basics of the game. We crafted a crafting table, a few basic tools, and we made our first little cave in which to seek shelter and survive the first night. So, the first thing we're going to do in the morning is we're going to throw open the door and select our sword and run straight out of our cave. And the reason we're doing this is because throughout the night hostile mobs will have spawned. Now skeletons and zombies will burn in sunlight and they take 5 or 10 seconds to die and might have a chance to hurt you, which isn't a huge problem. But the big problem is creepers. Now, if there's a creeper around and you walk out of your house, he might then explode and kill you. But if you're standing right next to your house, he'll also take out your house as well. So if you run away from your house first thing in the morning, at least you will draw the zombie away from your house, and then you've got a fighting chance to try and kill him without taking out your house. So I'm going to build a little scaffold here. And you may have noticed that at the end of the last tutorial, if you watched it, I fell as I was getting into my house and I took some damage. And I just want to illustrate how fall damage works. If we go up 3 blocks and jump off, you will notice that we take no damage. And that is the limit of falling without taking damage. If we go up 4 blocks and we hop off, you'll notice that I take half a heart of damage. And that is what you take for falling 4 blocks. If you fall from a greater height, you will take more damage. So 4 blocks is half a heart. Now what I'm going to do is just build myself up a little bit higher to illustrate that falling from a greater height will damage you more than half a heart, but also to show you a very useful tool. If you press the right thumbstick, you will enter creep mode, and what you'll find is that you cannot fall off an edge when you're in creep mode, and this is incredibly useful if you're up high somewhere, especially when you're building and you don't want to hurt yourself. But if I take creep mode off and jump off, you'll see this time I lost a heart and a half. And now I'll just take down this scaffolding and we will go and cook some of the pork chops that we gathered yesterday, and I can just show you how to heal yourself once you've taken damage. So we need to go back to the furnace to cook a raw pork chop. Hop back into our cave, always shut the door behind you, you never know what might follow you in. So if we go into our furnace menu by left clicking and put a block of wood into the fuel slot, a block of planks into the fuel slot and a block of wood into the ingredient slot, what that will do is make us a piece of charcoal, just like we did yesterday. And the reason I'm doing this is because charcoal is a much more efficient fuel than wood or planks. So I'll pop the piece of charcoal in the fuel slot, and then I'll put a piece of raw pork chop into the ingredient slot. And what this will do is cook our pork chop. So, that's our cooked pork chop. I'll just take that out and pop it in my inventory and put another raw pork chop in the ingredient slot, and we'll just cook up a couple of pork chops. It's always a good idea to have a good supply of food on you, because you never know when you might get attacked or when you might take some serious fall damage and you might be a long way away from home. I always tend to have about 4 pork chops on me. I'll just pop one more in, just so we don't waste this charcoal. Cook, cook, cook. Right, that will do. So, if we now take this cooked pork chop and we put it into our hotbar at the bottom, and then using the right and left bumpers, we put it in our hand and then pull the left trigger, that will make us eat the pork chop, and you'll see it's restored 4 hearts of health. So, a quick note on inventory. We didn't really talk too much about this yesterday, but if you push Y and go into your inventory, you'll notice you can move the D-pad to move your cursor around, but you can also use the analog thumbstick, the left thumbstick. So, that will move around quicker, but it's less precise, whereas the D-pad will just select 1 square at a time. Now, if I go and pick up this stack of 12 blocks of dirt, I push A to pick it up, and then tap the D-pad, right D-pad twice, and A to put it down again, and that's how you move stuff. But if I push X instead of A, it picks up half the stack, and that's quite useful. Now when I'm holding it, if I push X, instead of putting down the whole stack, it puts down 1 block at a time. And these shortcuts are very useful, especially when you're using things like furnaces. And Y will ping the whole stack, or whatever item you've selected, between your hotbar and your inventory. Now that my inventory is getting a little bit fuller, I'm going to craft a chest, and I'm going to show you how to use them for storage. So left trigger puts down a chest, and if I pull the left trigger on the chest, it will open up an inventory style window, but you see now it shows me my inventory and the chest inventory. So I'll take this stack of dirt blocks and I'll put them into the chest. And now if I go out of the chest inventory and turn around and go into my inventory, you'll see the dirt blocks aren't there, but if I go into the chest, you'll see they're still there. And if I push Y, you'll see that I can ping the stack of dirt blocks between the chest inventory and my own inventory, which is just another useful shortcut. And if I put a second chest down next to the first chest block, we make a double chest, and this is exactly the same, although it has twice as much space. So I'm going to make a few tools, and I think now we'll go and do some mining. So I'll make myself a stone pick and a stone shovel. I really wouldn't bother with wooden tools now, we've got a bit of stone. We'll just use stone tools for now, and once we've got iron, we'll move on to iron tools. And what I'm going to do is just rearrange my inventory slightly so that I've just got my tools where I want them. I find it's quite useful to get into a habit of having your sword and your pick and your shovel in the same place so that you can access them quickly when you need them. And before we go mining, I think we'll just make a piece of armour as well. We've got enough leather to make a leather breastplate, and you can see there are other materials that we could make breastplates out of, but leather is all we have, so we'll make a leather breastplate. And now if we go into our inventory and take the breastplate and pop it on the breastplate armour slot, you will see that we are now wearing our nice leather tunic. And when we go out of our inventory, you'll see that we now have an armour bar on the bottom right, and that just shows us the effectiveness and durability of our armour. So we'll start a little mine just going out of our cave, and we'll see if we can find some coal and some iron. Actually, we'll need some torches. So I'll quickly craft. Now I haven't got any charcoal or coal. Rather than make more charcoal, I think we'll just chance it and see if we can find some coal, because actually coal is quite prolific and it's much easier to make torches out of coal. It doesn't look like we're going to have much luck. I will... now of course I don't have any wood blocks, so I can't actually make some charcoal without going to get more wood. So I'll steal this torch and pop it down here. And with any luck, fingers crossed, we will stumble across some coal before I run out of light again. So I'll pop that down there. And all I'm digging here is a 3 deep there's coal. A 3 deep staircase. So, to mine coal you need a stone pickaxe or better. And you'll see when we mine it, it just drops a little lump of coal which you can pick up. Now we've got 4 lumps of coal in our inventory. I'll just zip upstairs and craft some torches. Of course, I don't actually need the crafting table to make torches because they're only small items. So I can actually just make them in my own little crafting menu. And you can see, again, the choice between charcoal and coal torches there. Exactly the same. If you're ever trying to make a torch and you think you've got the items to make it, and it's not working, it's probably because you're trying to make the wrong kind for what you have in your inventory. So I'll get the rest of this coal, and then we'll see if we can find some iron. While you're mining as well, it's quite important to try and keep everything well lit, and the reason for this is hostile mobs do not burn in torchlight like they do in sunlight, so you don't really need to worry about zombies and skeletons during the day outside, but you do need to worry about them underground. And they spawn in dark areas, so if you are mining and you leave an area in the dark, even if you're never going back there, the problem is if you're in the vicinity, hostile mobs can spawn in that dark area and then come and creep up behind you while you're mining and kill you. So I find it's best to keep everything quite well lit. Of course we don't have... well, we've got quite a lot of coal now actually, so we don't need to worry too much about resources as far as torches go. So we'll see if we can find some iron now. I think we're probably getting towards the end of the day. So actually what we'll do, instead of mining for iron here, we saw some, if you remember, in the last tutorial in the mouth of a cave not too far away from here. So I think we'll just zip outside and we'll pick up that iron and I can show you how to smelt it. Yeah, it's beginning to get a bit dark out here. I'll just grab these cows as well, actually, while I'm here, and we can make some more leather armour in preparation for caving, which is what we are going to do in the next tutorial. There are two types of mining, really, to my mind. One is just digging a hole and looking for ores, and the other is to go exploring big cave systems. And while this is more dangerous, it's often more lucrative. It's more dangerous because there tend to be hostile mobs in caves, but it's more lucrative because you don't have to dig out a huge cave, and there's often ores just in the walls or floors or ceilings of these caves that you can just pick up. Like, for example, this iron here. We can just, I'll pop a torch down and we can just mine this iron, and we didn't have to go digging for it. It was just right in front of us. So I'll snag this iron and we will then go back to our cave because it's getting dark. Return to the safety of our little home, and we will quickly smelt this iron. I'll show you how to smelt it into iron ingots. When you mine coal, it drops lumps of coal, but when you mine iron, it just drops ore blocks, and in order to get the iron ingots, you have to take these ore blocks back to a furnace and you have to smelt them. So I'll pop the iron ore into the ingredient slot, and then I'll take one lump of coal and drop it in the fuel slot, and that will now smelt me some iron ingots. And one lump of coal or charcoal will smelt you exactly 8 blocks. So if you're worried about efficiency, which you probably are in the beginning of the game, 1 lump of coal or 1 lump of charcoal will smelt you exactly 8 blocks of iron ore. Right, so that's smelting away. I think we'll go to bed and call it a day. Thanks very much again for watching. I hope you're finding the series useful and enjoyable so far. In the next episode, I think we're going to do some caving and see if we can get some more iron and make some iron tools and iron armour. I will be moving on to more advanced play as quickly as I can. If you do enjoy the style of these tutorials and you're finding them useful, please do come back and check for future episodes, or indeed subscribe. And if you did like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. It would be a massive help. Thanks again, and I will see you in episode 3.